Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sewing Common Sunday. I'm Diana here at Heartfelt Creative. It's so nice to have you with me today. I hope everyone had a great week, and I hope that you're sewing something great today, that you're taking a little time for yourself, maybe, and making something beautiful, or that maybe you're out enjoying the sunshine with family or grandchildren. I know we have a lot of grandchildren running around now that we didn't get to see this past year because of COVID, except through the video screen. So I hope that maybe now that things are settling down a little bit, maybe you're getting to spend some of that time with them as well. I know I have a dear friend, she is going out to California later in June, I think, to see her grandchildren, her and her husband. And I know they've been waiting a whole year to get out there to see them. So I hope something great is going on for you today on a Sunday. So on today's Sewing Common, I thought I would I'm going to show you the first block that I've made this week, and I'm going to kind of tell you about my process a little bit. Maybe that will help you if you're having some trouble figuring out how to get organized, or how to get things, set up, or how to pick out your fabrics, that sort of thing. So maybe that'll help you. And I thought to start off, I would give all of you a sneak peek at what's coming tomorrow for Patches and Pieces Live at 1 p.m. Central Time. This is the block we're going to do. It's called Tulip Ladyfingers. And I tell you all about it on the video for tomorrow, but isn't that pretty? Now, I love anything with tulips. We lived in Seattle and up on Whidbey Island for 21 years. And so we live, there's that huge Skagit Valley tulips in that area, which I was told was the second largest tulip fields outside of Holland. I don't know why they would have told me that if it weren't true. But so I adore tulips. And so I just thought this would be pretty. I thought this would be a pretty one to do a bunch of them and to make like a picnic quilt, because I love this check with the red and all. But that's coming tomorrow, and you'll get all the information then. So in last week's Sew in Common, I showed you how I work with my scrappy fabrics, how I decide what size is too small, what size is, like, I don't cut anything bigger than a 6-inch block. I just, if I'm going to need anything bigger than that, I go to my fat quarters, or I go to my half yard cuts or my full yard cuts, whatever I need, right? But how you organize your scrappy fabrics is completely up to you. You might never really have a use for, let's say 2.5 by 3 or 2 by 3.5 inch rectangles. So why cut them, right? Cut them into whatever sizes you can use. So that was last week, and I hope you found it helpful, and maybe got out there and started cutting up your scrappy fabric a little bit. I get that question. Everybody asks that question all the time. I even still ask folks sometimes, how do you deal with your scraps? Because as quilters, we end up with a lot of them, don't we? I mean, my goodness, I probably have almost as much scraps as I have regular yardage sometimes. And then I told you that for starting this series, Sew in Common, I'm going to be making up my own quilt version from the blocks that Fat Quarter Shop put out called Socialites. Now, this is a free sew-along program that they're doing. You can find all this information on their website, and I put that link below so that you can go directly to it. And it's still going on, I think, until July 2nd. I don't know how long they'll leave those free blocks out there. They may leave them out there forever. I don't know that. So if you're interested in seeing those blocks and downloading some of them, or doing the sew along with them, then you should probably click that link and go check them out. But I'm so grateful that they did this for everyone, and for all the designers who put out blocks together. I know how hard it is to come up with blocks. I'm working on a new quilt right now that I'm calling My Hometown, and I've gotten a few of the blocks created, but it's not easy always to come up with blocks on your own. So I appreciate all the hard work that went into this, so much that I ordered the binder so that I can put my my patterns in it. Let me just slip this away. Okay, so that information, like I said, is below. So the first block that I did this week, I didn't think you'd really just want to watch me necessarily sew a full block. I mean, sometimes I might do this, but I'm hoping to have something each week around the blocks and all that we can talk about other than just watching me sew them together. Like I might show you part of it or something. We'll see how this goes. This series is a little bit new, but there's so much stuff. Social Sunday this, Social Sunday that. I didn't want to do something that you guys had to come to at a specific time. I just wanted to put out the information for you to watch whenever you wanted. Like I said last week, you might be watching this at 3 a.m. Who knows? So what I did, I started out. My first block that I chose was block number 18 from that series, and it's called the Hearty block, H-E-R-T-Y, Hearty block. It was designed by Corey Yoder from Coriander Quilt, so thanks to Corey for doing this block. The nice thing about the program, they give you 3 sizes. You can do a 3-inch. Can you imagine a cute quilt with all those little mini 3-inch blocks? I would be blind. But if you have good eyes and you like doing mini quilts, I'd love to see somebody do some of these in that size. I think they'd be beautiful. Then there's a 6-inch block and a 9-inch block. I'm doing a 9-inch block, the 9-inch blocks for this particular series. The 6.5, I think, would be great. I think all these sizes would be great, but I've done 6.5 before. In fact, as I decide on how I'm going to put the quilt together, I may throw a couple 6.5s in there with borders around it or something. Who knows? But because I am doing this quilt completely scrappy, no block is going to be the same. And I'm not really completely planning it out. I'm picking blocks that I like from this series. Right now, there's like 32, 33 of them, I think. In fact, I think they may have released another one just on Friday. But I am making them as I go. I've got them up on my design board, and I'll figure out how I want to put them together. And you can come along this ride with me and see that process, basically. So this is, I'm going to flip the camera now because everything else I need to show you really is better from the overhead camera. So let me flip the camera over. This is my block, the Hearty block. Isn't it cute? Now this looks a little red on my camera. This is very orange, very traditionally pumpkin orange. And I wanted to show you, or I'll just tell you, this fabric here is from Jessica Mundo for Harry Glass Fabrics. From the Wild and Free collection, which is out right now. This particular fabric number was 9568, if you're interested. And this fabric is from A Blooming Bunch by Maureen McCormick. Yes, that Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch. And I'll tell you more about that in a sec. For Moda Fabrics. And this one is called Forever in My Heart. And it was number 40043. I'm going to show you some of these from that collection because I have some handy fat quarters here. So that's the one, Forever in My Heart. Then these are all done. Did you all know that Maureen McCormick was also a designer and that she also did home makeovers, renovations? I didn't know that until, I mean, I knew it recently, but I think that's great. And she has come up, apparently she loves these vintage prints and stuff, and because she loves that era, the late 60s, early 70s. Oh, these stripes are just, and then this one. Now there's more in the collection. These are the fat quarters I have, but I will now swear on a stack of Bibles that I had a jumper, a little dress made out of this exact fabric. And I'm sure we all had one made out of this fabric by then. And I love it so much. I don't know what I'm going to make with the rest of these fabrics. Some of them will probably go into blocks, but this one, I think I have to make something special with this one. Maybe a little zipper pouch or something. I don't know. I love it. Nice memories there. So this is my block, the Hearty block. Before I do more of that, I'm going to show you this really quick, the pattern, because I want to show you kind of what I do with my patterns when I when I print them out. Now, like I said, they give you 3 sizes here. What I do is I X out anything that I'm not going to use. I'm not doing a 3-inch. I'm not doing a 6-inch. I mark those out. Don't need to know about them. I just want my eye to come right here to the size that I'm going to use. So I circle how many I need. So I know every time I go to look down at this paper, I'm looking at this column, nothing over here. Now, the way they have it set up is you need 2 fabrics, okay? Background and print. But because, as you can see on my block, my background is really more of a print than this, but they're both technically a print. This is a tiny dot, and this is the tiny little daisy flowers. So they're technically both prints, but this reads more as a solid. This reads a little bit more of a print up next to this. So I lettered my fabric. Fabric A is my background. Fabric B is my print, what I'm considering my print. That's just so I know in my head how I've sorted those things out. And as you can see over in this column, every cut is assigned a letter, okay? So what I do now, these are not the fabrics I used on this, of course, but I set this up in my tray just to kind of show you what I do. So let's say these were 3 of the blocks that I needed to cut out for this square. First, I have all my little trays that I get. Now I got these from IKEA. Like I said, I think they're like $1.25 or something, but you could probably get something like this at the dollar store, or you might have something like this already around the house. So what I do is I have this package of letters and numbers. I think there's 4 different colored pages in here. And then what I do is I take, and whatever a cut is assigned, whatever letter that cut was assigned, I stick that letter on it. Now, I have reused these letters several times. I've had this packet for a long time, like over a couple of years, because when I'm done with them, I just take the little sticky and I put it right back in there. Whoops, stuck on my finger. I put it right back in there, and then I can use it again. And so I get to reuse each one of these letters a few times over. And then what I do as I'm sewing, if I need to take the whole stack out and use those, then I take the whole stack out, I take the letter off, put it on my sticky paper and set it aside. But if I'm going to just need, say, 2 of them, I'll go down to the bottom of my stack, take out the 2 blocks that I need from stack A, if that's what I'm looking for, but I still know this is stack A. So what I'm saying is I don't start taking my fabric off from the top of the pile, because if I did, I'd take that off, I'd slip it back over on that sheet, and then I would not know, and trust me, I would not know that that was supposed to be pile A, because my brain would not remember that. So that's how I do it. And then when I get to the very last one in the pile, and I take it off, then I take the sticker off and I bring it over and I put it back on my protective sheet, and then I can use them again. So that's kind of how I set this up. And also I like these shallow little trays, because what I can also do is I can throw my pattern in there, all my fabric in there, my sheets in there, my precision piecing pen that I use to condition my seams for my half square triangles and my flying geese and all of that. I can throw all of this in here. I can take it from my cutting table around to my sewing table, and that way everything stays in here, nothing goes flying anywhere, and it's all contained for me. And this is important for me because I am a klutz. Seriously, I'm a klutz, and everything would fly off of there if I didn't, because I trip in this room all the time. So that's what I do with my, how I set my squares up. So maybe that will be helpful for you. And then as I go through and do each section, like down here, I've written what fabrics I used. That's what I read from to give you the information for what is this one and what is this one, what collections they're from. And that way I always know that. And then as I do my sections, I check them off. And I didn't check this one off, but I just check them all off. And then at the end, I would put a date on here. So today is the 13th of June. So I'm just going to put check 6/13/21. That way also, when I go to put together my quilt at the end and I want to do a quilt label, I'll have information that I might want to put in there. Like I started on the 13th of June. My last block will have a different date. So I'll have a date range I can put on my quilt label if I want to do that. So that's how I work with the pattern. Let's bring in the block again and I can show you how this one came together because it wasn't difficult. There's two main units you make in this quilt. You make half square triangles. You make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You make 8 half square triangles. And you make 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 flying geese units. And these instructions were really, really good. They give you little diagrams and all how to make them. I am not running a sew along in this particular series, so I'm not giving you dimensions and all of that because you can easily go and download that pattern for yourself and have all of that information right there. So those were the basic units. The other unit that was kind of like making your flying geese units was when you made your heart in the middle. The heart is made from 2 rectangular units that look like this. So what you do is you snowball the upper 2 corners and you kind of do a flying geese type unit here at the bottom. And you do another one exactly the same, except you put this on the other side. And in the end, you get that sweet little heart in the middle. And it didn't do too bad. I've got my points pretty much everywhere. I do a technique when I do points and all, where I don't get my points cut off in my seams, but this technique, if I really pressed that good, I'm not in the seams there, so that's good. So that's how, that's what you start out doing. You start out doing your half square triangles, your flying geese units, and then all you did was put it together in rows. So you have top and bottom rows are the same. The next 2 rows are the same. And then this row here in the center with the heart is, just on its own. It's completely different. So then I sewed this row to this row to this row, and then this section to the bottom of the center piece, and this section to the top of the center piece. And that was it. It was really quite simple. I will say this, I don't normally, as you can tell, I don't press open. I press to usually the darker fabric. If I were ever going to press open, I might consider it on this block because these pieces are a little bit small in the end. And so there were some places, I'll be honest, there were some places that I still, as I look at it, I don't like how some of this is sitting. Like right here at the end, I can't get that to lay flat. So that is a place right there where I could snip that and open up this seam. I don't even really know how to do this very well because I just don't do it, but there we go. I would open up this seam and do this whole center seam flat and open, and then I think I could probably get that to lay flat a little bit better. So I may try that. In fact, let's just turn on the iron right now and see how I can do that. Let me get my little snips. Now I use these little precision snips with the hook as my ripper sometimes. Okay, so let's just get in here and take this one little stitch out, which won't make a difference in the overall seam. There we go. And let's do that one. There we go. Okay. So now I can open this up. And you know what I'm going to try? Because this gives you such a nice flat seam. I'm going to use a little bit of my precision piecing pen conditioner in this seam. I'm just kind of going down the center putting it in there. Now let's take my little iron here and let's flatten that out, shall we? Oh yeah, see, now I like that better. And it would be better than probably if I went ahead and did this whole seam to this side. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this better. So see, you know, never say never. I always say I don't press open, and I don't, but whoops. But this time I think maybe it was a wise decision to do that. Now, the one thing that isn't, let me put my clapper on here and get this kind of helping out. I didn't use a smaller stitch length. If I was going to press my seams open, I would always use a smaller stitch length, like a 2 or a 1.8 even. Yeah, see, I like that a lot better. That's my you guys are seeing it. That's my very first pressed open seam. Yeah, oh wow, yeah, I like that a whole lot better. That's just lying a lot nicer. Let me just do a little press here on the top. So never say never, and always be willing to learn something new and to try something new. Now, I may have tried that and decided, I don't like that. That would have been fine, but I do like it. I think that turned out better. So I'm going to flip the camera back over. So that was this week's block, the Hearty block, again by Corey Yoder. And I just love it. I think it's a really sweet block. I could see, I'm trying to think. Well, you'll find out next week on Sew in Common if I make more of these for my quilt, because I'm playing with the idea that I might use these as cornerstones. Maybe in this size, maybe in a smaller size. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So maybe next week, or maybe it'll be a different week, and you'll see if I do any more of the Hearty block by Corey Yoder. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining me today. I don't want these Sew in Commons to be long and drawn out, but I hope you got some information that maybe inspired you a little bit or helped out a little bit. If you make any of these blocks, would you please post your pictures over at my Facebook page, Sew in Common? You'll have to answer a couple questions to be let into the group, no problem. But I would love to see them, and I know everybody over in that group would love to see them. And if any of those group folks are doing these blocks, you know, I want to see them. That way we can encourage each other and help each other out if there are questions. Because like I said, you know, I've been quilting a long time. But I can always learn something new, and you have to always be ready to learn something new or to try something new like I did today. Alrighty. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. Soak up some sunshine, get some fresh air, and I'll see you next week for Sew in Common Sunday. Bye now.